In 2007, I was found guilty of receiving benefits of some $45,000 over a 7-year period, for which my family was allegedly not entitled. I've now been denied the right of appeal and to appeal against the confused verdicts of a jury who returned guilty and not guilty verdicts on identical evidence. That is a disgrace. It means now that I need to get on the public record and make a few things perfectly clear. I pleaded not guilty for very good reason. I did not defraud the public purse. Frankly, it never occurred to me. I grew up with German bombs falling around me every night. People like me know what this country is all about and what it stands for. Self-reliance rather than sponging off the state. So I have absolutely nothing to apologise for. These are the facts. In the late 80s, early 90s, mine was one of 100,000 or so businesses that collapsed. And against the strong advice of the receivers at the time, I insisted that all my creditors were paid in full. Only the Inland Revenue lost out. My family lost our home, my source of income, our largest asset, and my potential pension. I was solvent, just. At that time, we had 2 children still in full-time education, and after several unsuccessful attempts to start again without capital and increasingly in debt, eventually and very reluctantly, I asked for state aid. And for me, that was an admission of failure. Over the next 7 years, my family received an average of £123 every week to house, feed, clothe and support a family of 4. The official poverty line at the time was £250 a week. The so-called protectors of the public interest pocketed over £1 million in their attempts to destroy me and my political credibility. For every pound I was alleged to have received wrongly, they spent £14 to try and prove it. Worse, when the jury had finished its confused deliberations, the cost of the prosecution had risen to £22 for every pound supposedly paid to me incorrectly. Value? Proportionality? I don't think so. As a taxpayer, I'm furious. As a target, I'm no longer surprised. The ruling elite will stop at nothing that supports their own political agenda. Now, everybody knows that politics is a dirty game. Your opponents exploit everything and anything they can to damage you. Truth and accuracy are early casualties in these battles. Hence the despicable attempt to blacken my name. But neither the British government, nor for that matter the European Union, are going to get rid of me that easily. I have no intention of being defeated. Frankly, I'm made of sterner stuff. In a war, you do exactly what your enemies least want. So my part in the fight for British independence goes on. The one benefit to emerge from recent events was the grim certainty of knowing that my case exposed the true nature of the legal system now masquerading as the rule of law in the UK. Here was yet more evidence that the rule of law now means whatever our government wants it to mean. Today, the rule of law is used blatantly by the political elite to manipulate, control, influence and threaten all those that threaten them. There is no room for objectivity, for proportionality, for integrity. Mine was a show trial, staged to destroy an individual. The government saw the opportunity to turn my case into a political hatchet job. The primary objective was quite clear: to get me out of the European Parliament or to discredit me, and better still, both. This show trial was conducted not because of what I was alleged to have done, but simply because of who I was, and still am, and the threat I represented, and still do. After my latest attempt at an appeal was rejected, a leading constitutional lawyer was so disgusted at what had happened that he had volunteered to take a close look at the case and its surrounding circumstances. His considered legal opinion has now been added to my website. I will never surrender to Brussels. As Churchill wrote at the end of many of his wartime memos, KBO, keep buggering on. And that is precisely what I intend to do. Thank you.